appreciation to all of our trustees for their dedication and support. Please join me in welcoming them today. I extend a special welcome this afternoon to the parents, relatives, and friends of our graduates, many of whom have traveled great distances to be here today. We're honored to share this special day with you, and in recognition of their love and support, the next round of applause should be for the parents of our graduates. President Susan Joshua.
So first, I'd like to add my congratulations to you, the Academy Class of 2014. You are a gifted, dedicated, wonderful group of actors with a lot of heart and lots of diversity. You've converged here from throughout this country as well as 7 others. In fact, 30 of our 77 graduates are from countries other than the U.S. There are 12 of you from England, 8 from Canada, and others from Australia, Hungary, Norway, Russia, Scotland, and Wales. We are all enriched by this wonderful diversity that makes the Academy such a special community. On this occasion, we have so much to celebrate and so much to be grateful for. For our graduates, the year 2014 marks yet another new chapter, another beginning, and now you will carry the great tradition of the Academy forward. And we couldn't be more proud of you. We all know the rich history here. After the Academy was founded in 1884, it became the first enduring school for actors in the English-speaking world. Considerably older than the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and started over a decade before the Moscow Art Theater was founded. In 1974, the Academy founded its California campus, and we extend our best wishes out to the West Coast to our California graduates, faculty, and staff for the graduation ceremony coming up in May out there. Now for some acknowledgments. On behalf of the Academy, it is my honor to acknowledge the people too numerous to mention by name, the people I wish we could bring up on this stage and give giant bouquets of flowers to, those who have been instrumental in guiding you, our graduates, to this day. First, the people whose expertise and dedication have guided you daily for the past 2 years, the incomparable faculty of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Instruction, Konstantin Skopas, and our Assistant Director of Instruction, Jackie Bartone, and our Academic Coordinator, and Jonathan Bolt, the Director of the Academy Company. The Academy's very dedicated administrators and staff who are with us in the theater today as well. Joining us in our audience today, we have representatives of the Episcopal Actors Guild, Guild President Elowin Castle, Karen Lehman, Executive Director, Assistant Director Matt Robertson, and the VP and Chair of the Guild Scholarship Committee, Nicholas Pavlik. The Guild annually awards 4 scholarships to Academy students, for which we're grateful. So we thank them. As you will have noticed in your program, the Schubert organization made it possible today for the Academy to use this beautiful theater. We wish to express our thanks to them for this amazing privilege. The Majestic Theater is, as you know, the current home of the Phantom of the Opera, and you may feel the presence of many great actors who have played upon this very stage. Thank you to the crew of this theater for their work in helping us on stage. But today is about you, the graduating class of 2014. Today we applaud your achievements, some which were out there for all of us to witness and behold, certainly in the last couple weeks, and some perhaps that were more private victories and personal triumphs for you. In the Academy's Spring Festival of Plays, 10 shows in the last 8 days, we saw work that was varied, inspiring, exciting work. You took us from Sterlington, Louisiana, on a long journey to the rather curious chapel of Christopher Durang. Along the way, we traveled through the heartbreak and horrors of war in Vietnam. A rolling hillside of Dublin. Churchill's world of dining, vocation, and backyards. A living room 2 hours outside of New Jersey, where we were visited by a lady from and then we went to Lockerbie, Scotland. The Golden Carousel Restaurant, and a century of poignant relationships in the Midwest, where we were touched by memories. And with those memories, we say to you, the class of 2014, we'll remember all of it, and we shall not forget you. We congratulate you on your work.
Get you early morning.
And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, somebody who is very special to the Academy, Douglas Carter Beane. Doug has been hailed by the New York Times as America's greatest practitioner of the exploding epigram and dramatic social satire, and has been crowned by London's The Guardian as a worthy successor to Noel Coward. His play, The Little Dog Laughed, where it was nominated for the Tony Award for Best Play. The next season, it had a successful run in London's West End, where it was nominated for an Olivier Award for Best Play. Douglas's other plays include Mr. and Mrs. Fitch, As Bees and Honey Drown, Music from a Sparkling Planet, The Country Club, White Lies, Mondo Drama, and The Cartels. He wrote the screenplay for the film adaptation of his play, Advice from a Caterpillar, and his original screenplay, To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, was produced by Steven Spielberg. Douglas wrote the book for the Broadway musical Xanadu, which received 4 Tony nominations, including Best Book and Best Musical. In the past 2 seasons, he had the good fortune to have 3 shows on Broadway, with Lizzie Strada-Jones, the Tony-nominated Sister Act, and The Nance, which starred Nathan Lane. Continuing still this season on Broadway is his version of Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella. This man is busy. Next season, we will see his stage musical, The Bandwagon, and at Lincoln Center, his new play, Show for Days. For 10 years, Doug was the artistic director of his own theater company, the Drama Department, where he created shows with Cynthia Nixon, Wendy Wasserstein, Paul Rudnick, David Sedaris, Kenneth Lonergan, and John Cameron Mitchell. Watch your step outside the Lortel Theater, because his name is on a star on the playwright's sidewalk. He is a 1980 graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And one exciting thing about Doug is that you never know where his work is going to show up. We are so grateful that he could be with us today. He is a great friend to the Academy. We love him a lot. And please join me in welcoming to the podium Douglas Carter Beebe.
They say great minds think alike. I don't think great minds think alike. I think great minds think the way no one else does. Last week, Stephen Sondheim had a joke, and he sent it out to some people on the internet. Danny Burston emailed him back and said, LMAO. Sondheim said, I'm 100 years old. I don't know what that means. Someone else on the link said, no one tell him, I want him to figure it out himself. What do you think it stands for? Immediately back came an email from Stephen Sondheim saying, leave me alone, officer. Hello, I'm Douglas Carter. Five-time Tony nominee. A-list Hollywood screenwriter, and openly gay role model for today's teens. Now, I have to tell you, I could very soon be writing a book, How to Do 6 Shows on Broadway in 7 years and Gain 50 pounds. It is surprisingly easy to do. Tech tables are good. Chocolates are there any time of the day, and you're there 12 hours a day. Actually, 10 out of 12. You'll know later. It's dreadful. Also, going out afterwards for fried food and alcohol or after 11 to work on a show, good time to pack on the pounds. What this does is, for years, I was very thin because I was starving to death. Then, you become successful. And then you have to pay someone to tell you what not to eat so you can be starving to death. So basically there were 10 years where I could have creme brulee whenever I wanted. Those were good 10 years and I'll never see them again. Now, I go to a gym called Mark Fisher Fitness where I swing kettlebells and do things like that. And the trainer has worked at many, many different gyms. And he said to me once as I was exhausted and ready to give up and have creme brulee, come on. He said, as long as you have the why, you can deal with any how. And I thought, you know, that's some pretty deep stuff for a trainer to come out with. And I thought of that in my life, and he said that they teach you that at gym school. It's called the Gym Academy, Gymnastic Arts. They teach this to you at gym school so that you would be conned into spending more money. You just have to keep reminding the people why they're there. Like, you're there for your son's graduation, you're there for your wedding, and you'll just lose weight. So I thought about this, and it was in my head, and I thought, I've never not known why I was doing what I was doing. So this weekend, I get a phone call. Actually, Wednesday night, I got a phone call from a man in Scranton, Pennsylvania, who had gotten my number, who knows how. I thought I was unlistened. Saying, I just bought a theater. And I want to fill it with theater. How do I do that? And I said, I gotta have lunch with this guy. So I have a country house out in Pennsylvania, so I was on my way there, so I had lunch with him. And he said, first question, how many people go to see a show for the venue, and how many go for the event inside the venue? Well, I would say most people go for the event inside the venue. Nobody says, I don't want to see Les Mis, but God, I love the Imperial. So then he asked a lot of really rude questions and with long drawn-out silences, and I thought, perhaps he has Asperger's. Or if he doesn't, he's just stupid and mean. So, and as he was doing this, and asking me, like, why would anyone in the world want to go to theater? And I told him what it would take to do theater. He said, why would anyone want to do that? And I said, because life would be meaningless without it. And he said, no, I don't go to the theater and I'm fine. And there was another long drawn-out silence. Asperger's, we're hoping. And I said to him, I'm thinking, my mind's going, in the brochure for your apartment building next door to your theater, you say your lofts are within walking distance to theaters. You're lying. You don't have theater. You're telling people that the apartment is never going to be enough. Man does not live by loft alone. He has to have something more to get out of the house. He has to be a part of a bigger community. And you might want to Google me. You'll be surprised. Haven't written much. So I left. And as I was driving home, I remembered this scene that I had written in a play. It was a scene about a real estate person who discovered that they owned a theater. It was written to cover a costume change in the musical Xanadu. That's what theater is. You think everything is laid out perfect, and then someone says, you got to write something for a costume change. They ended up cutting the costume change. The speech was cut. I forgot about it. But when they were doing the brochure, the souvenir brochure, they found that everyone in the cast had not thrown out the speech, but had kept it. And people had put it on the doors of their dressing rooms and put it on their scripts. And so I'm going to read this to you. It's from the street. I'm like Norma Desmond here. I live alone with my brochures and my own choice. This is, and it's warped. I'm giving my papers to the Academy. They're going to think it's like an episode of Hoarders when I give them. This was said by Tony Roberts. This is a real estate man walking into a theater that he's just bought for the first time. Theaters are stupid buildings. They're large enough on the outside, but inside, only one big room. What a waste. Even more a kicker, they only get used for about 3 hours a day. 5 if it's O'Neill. Stupid waste of building. The only thing that I can think of that's interesting about a theater is that it is the only room where you can say some things that you can't just say anywhere. Like if you say, to be or not to be, that is a question. In a theater, ooh, aren't we highbrow? Haven't you provoked us? Say it in the lobby of a hospital, and you wind up in the psych ward. Trust me, I tried it. Or if you're in a big room like this and say, my boy Bill will be tall and as tough as a tree, will Bill, you get applause and grown men cry. Say the same thing in an airport and the lady next to you just says, too much information. It's odd the things that you can say in this big room. I'd steer clear if I were you. So there we are, a theater memory. And it was a big joy to say the words to Carousel, which was in this very theater at one time, and opened here. And so I am now going to give you another theater moment. I am now honored to introduce our special guest and keynote speaker, the enormously talented actor, Michael C. Hall. Moving from an uptight funeral director on 6 Feet Under, to a serial killer on Dexter, to the Beat Generation figure David Cameron in Kill Your Darlings, Mr. Hall continues to illuminate the humanity of transformative complex characters. A formally trained stage actor, Mr. Hall first made an impression as younger brother David Fisher on 6 Feet Under. During the series' 5-year run, Mr. Hall received nominations for an Emmy, an American Film Institute's Male Television Actor of the Year Award. As the title character of Dexter, Mr. Hall, who also served as an executive producer, won the Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild Awards in 2010, the 2007 Television Critics Association Award for Individual Achievement in Drama, and 5 consecutive Emmy nominations. Mr. Hall recently made his directorial debut with Every Silver Lining, the 7th episode of his 8th and final season. He will continue to work with Showtime to develop and executive produce American Dream Machine, a serial adaptation of Matthew Spector's acclaimed novel about 2 generations of Hollywood royalty. In 2013, Mr. Hall also traveled to Bangladesh to film an episode of the network's documentary series about climate change, Years of Living Dangerously, which premiered April 13th. Last fall, Mr. Hall appeared on the big screen as David Cameron in the former Professors Obsessed With and Later Murdered By, Dane DeHane's character Lucy Carr in John Crocodile's Kill Your Darlings. The Beat Generation drama also stars Daniel Radcliffe as Allen Ginsberg. On May 23rd, IFC will release Cold in July, Jim Nichols' feature adaptation of the Joe Lansdale cult novel, in which Mr. Hall stars with Sam Shepard and Don Johnson. The film premiered to acclaim in the U.S. dramatic competition at the 2014 Sundance Film Festival. A North Carolina native and graduate of NYU's MFA program in acting, Mr. Hall made his Broadway debut as the Master of Ceremonies in Sam Mendes' 1999 revival of Cabaret, and portrayed Billy Flynn in the 2002 Broadway revival of Chicago. Off-Broadway, his credits include the Roundabout Company's Mr. Marmalade, Cymbeline, Macbeth, Timon of Athens, and Henry V at the Public Theater / New York Shakespeare Festival. The English teachers for Manhattan Class Company, the Manhattan Theater Club's Corpus Christi, Romeo and Juliet at the Center Theater, R. Showman at Williamstown, and Skylight at the Mark Taper Forum. Mr. Hall is currently starring in the Broadway production of Willie No's dark comedy, The Realistic Joneses, opposite Toni Collette, Tracy Letts, and Marissa Tomei, directed by Sam Gold. The play about 2 suburban couples who discover they have an unsettling amount in common. Open to enthusiastic reviews on April 6th. He is taking the time here to join us. Please give a rousing welcome to Michael.
Good afternoon and congratulations to the 2014 graduates of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. It's an honor to be here today with you all. It's amazing, really. When I graduated from college, my plan was either to study acting or work for UPS. Because, you know, everyone's always happy to see the UPS guy. That said, I consider it very fortunate that I ended up studying acting, and I applaud you all on your decision to do as well. While I know plenty of actors who never went to school, I believe studying acting professionally, that is working under experienced teachers and developing yourself alongside your fellow actors, is of immeasurable value. Speaking to a room full of actors is a curious assignment, as there are, I believe, as many ways of acting as there are actors. All of us play different instruments. Nevertheless, I'll do my best to impart something that might be construed as useful. Loosely, by some of you, maybe. I think acting is important. You may have been surrounded by people your whole life who were unfailingly supportive of your artistic ambitions, who encouraged you to do what you love, no matter how ambitious or impractical or off the beaten path, to embrace your identity as an artist and never compromise. If you've been so lucky, good for you. If you haven't, let me tell you, now, what you're doing is important. You're artists. That is a great honor and responsibility. Art is important. It's always been the job of the artist to tell us the story of ourselves. to set down something true about this moment so that those who come after us will know what it was to be here now. As you've trained, you've cultivated your ability to be specifically focused and intentioned in the here and now, your ability to gracefully return and return again to the present moment. That is worth doing. Little diversion. I had a dream the other night in which Derek Jeter played a prominent role. Derek Jeter. Never dreamed about him before. Never thought much about him. Yet there he was in my dream, sitting up at a picnic table, grinning a wide grin, wearing some weird festive smock. And I woke up thinking, weird. About a half hour later, I took my dog on an early morning walk in the West Village. I turned a corner, and there was Derek Jeter, walking toward me, backlit by the rising sun. Wearing an immaculate black suit and sunglasses, a beautiful lady on his arm. Anyway, the point of the story, even if not exactly as you imagined them, dreams really do come true. While thinking about addressing you all today, I reflected on my own experience as an acting student and how so much of my appreciation for my training has emerged after the fact. I suspect you've all been given tools that you don't recognize yet or appreciate, that you haven't yet used. One of the most useful pieces of advice I ever got in acting school was this: it's not always a nail you need to hammer in. Sometimes it's just a thumbtack. You can take from that whatever you will or not. It's proven useful. Someone else said, don't just say something, stand there. I think they stole that from Meisner. I had a teacher in grad school who used to ask us individually, can you just tolerate yourself? He'd watch actors perform a scene in class, and with his characteristic mix of benevolence and exasperation, he'd say to one of them, could you just allow yourself to want her? Your character, he wants her, yes? Could you allow yourself to do that? Could you tolerate your wanting and want her? Yes? Another teacher used to like to say, don't be preoccupied with where you wish you were. You can't be anywhere but where you are. Work from where you are. This, of course, is a cliche, but it's true, as most cliches are. Here's another one. There is no such thing as an overnight success. 90% of an iceberg is underwater. What we see is just a fraction. You've heard all this. You know it doesn't come easy. You'll have to work hard. There are rarely big breaks. There are, however, moments that arise that have lessons to teach you. And if you can recognize these moments and harness them, they will propel you forward in ways that you cannot imagine. At noon on a Thursday in 1999, I was invited to a work session for Cabaret at 6 o'clock that same evening. They were auditioning actors to take over the part of the MC. I've been out of school for about 3 years, acting regionally and off-Broadway, on occasion collecting unemployment so I could make some real money. I prepared the available material all afternoon and showed up at a studio next to the theater at the appointed hour. And to be honest, I don't remember much of what happened in the room, but I know I was there, I did whatever I did, and I was back out on the street by 6:45. I went around the corner and ordered a turkey sandwich from a deli on 8th Avenue. I hadn't eaten all day. And 15 minutes later, finishing my sandwich under the Cabaret marquee at Studio 54, the casting director materialized and told me I had the job. An hour later, I sat in the audience and watched the show for the first time and experienced a commingling of euphoria and horror. I was thrilled, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. But I did it. I did it 493 times. And everything that has happened professionally for me in the years since playing that part has been directly because of it, or rather because of what I learned playing it. As the MC, your primary scene partner is the audience. When I started performing the role, I finally became conscious of a part of myself that had always felt threatened by the audience and closed off to what I unconsciously imagined was a potentially adversarial and critical energy. As the MC, I was forced to reckon with my confining sense of the shadowed strangers in the room with me. In the world of cabaret, it was a given that the audience loved me, and I loved them. And in doing the show with them night after night, I learned to trust them, to be open to them, and welcome them, to cherish them as essential witnesses and vital partners, to unfold before them, and to tolerate myself. Tolerate yourself. I can think of nothing more important that I could say to you. It matters more than anything. More than landing a job of your dreams, because that job will end and you'll still be you. More than getting famous, because you won't stay famous, and even while you are famous, you'll still be you. More accolades or awards or adoration, those are nice, but they aren't you. If you take anything from me today, let it be this invitation. Tolerate yourself. Through your discomfort and your aversion and your lists and your wanting. Or, I don't know, maybe you can all tolerate yourselves already. Maybe that was just in that case, I'll offer the following advice. Be humble. Be fearless. Be unembarrassable. Show up on time every day. Don't be an asshole. Keep saying yes. Learn to say no. Learn to accept no. Realize that what doesn't happen is often as important as what does. Take your work seriously, but not yourself. Be a generous scene partner. It's not about winning, it's about having a good dance. Don't take it personally. Keep showing up. Honor your charge as a storyteller. Give every job, everything you have. Go home, sleep, get up, and give it everything you have again. Repeat. Forever. Have fun. Take care of yourself. Get out there. We need you. In the words of David Foster Wallace, I wish you way more than luck. Thank you.
And now, it's time. And I would like to invite Dino and Jim for the presentation of your diplomas.